player that is not willing to say yes to the adventures given to him. Okay. So, and I'll leave up the list here just so any of you guys who decide to come in the chat can see which one we're on and where we'll be at. Alright. I'm a new DM, and I have started my own campaign for 4 new players. I thought it might be fun to play a Mercenaries for Hire style of campaign. Playing for about 3 sessions now, I have realized that new players require events of the story to unfold in front of them rather than have the players interact with the world I have given them. I don't mind this happening because I imagine it takes a little while for players to become comfortable playing in an interactive world. That's true. Generally speaking, I've noticed it to be kind of the opposite. Usually new players want to do too much, but everyone's different. My current issue is that one of my players is reluctant to accept the task that I provide to the group. He feels as though it goes against what his character would do, therefore refuses to get on board with the rest of the players. Being a new player, he doesn't provide any alternatives to what his character would do instead of the task at hand. I have no issue with him playing his character, but it started to become an issue when the rest of the group wants to go on the adventure I have planned, but he wants to go against it for no other reason other than to be stubborn. D&D is a team game, and I feel that if he wants to play in a way, and I get the feeling he wants to play in a way that everything needs to benefit him and his character. Looking forward to some advice on how to approach this. I feel as though the rest of the players are beginning to feel frustrated. So a couple things. First off, what you're really kind of asking, at least from what I'm reading here, is that you're looking for a way to make this player care about what's happening around him, right? Because obviously he doesn't want to do anything unless it benefits him. So I would do this generally by adding in some sort of NPC, like maybe making a family member or maybe a love interest, and have that person be kind of the MacGuffin, or not MacGuffin, but the bait to lure him along those different types of like roleplay lines and plot lines. Hey there, Vanya. So that's what I would do as far as like trying to make sure he cares about the game. There's a couple other ways you can go about it. Like if his character's greedy, maybe you start offering some gold rewards involved with that. Or maybe you take them, like one good way to do this, and I might touch on this a little bit later, but is I would offer the group, take them to a town, like maybe a big city, and in this city there's like this really talked up weapons shop. When they get to this weapons shop, it's got like high-end magic gear, magic items, gear, weapons, all that jazz, right? But the place is highly defensible. Like, you can let them know that, like, hey, when they walk in, that the shopkeep has hired really good guards and also has magical enchantments on the place that will effectively probably cast some sort of, like, hold person or paralyzed person spell should they try to do something. Or effectively, maybe it will portal the shop away or something like that, just to, like, obviously if he's got a lot of high-end magic items in there, he doesn't want them to be stolen. Or, and maybe also have that also tied to his life so he doesn't get, like, killed, and then they just loot the shop and then walk out. So, that's one of the things I would do, is, like, by giving him this, like, showing him that, hey, you can have these magic items, but you need, like, like I said, probably show him something that's tied to his power progression, since that seems to be what he's interested in. And then that'll give him a goal to start working towards, so that way he'll want gold, so he can start trying to work towards buying the stagger. So yeah, those would be, I guess, 2, possibly 3 options there for you to get this character to start caring about the game, and how to get them to start, following into what you would do. I guess I'd turn it over to chat. What would you guys do to make this character or this player care about the game session? I know it's still early in the chat, but yeah. Did they do a session 0? It doesn't sound like it, but I bet a session 0 would have helped with that. That's a good point, Lark. A session 0 really helps eliminate a lot of these kind of things. Because as a DM, you should be able to, or not should, because you're obviously a new DM, but You know, you could recognize maybe a selfish or a potential problem player or problem character, because I feel like this is more the player's just trying to play to his character, right? And his character is really the problem, not so much the player. So at that point, yeah, if you'd done a session 0, that would be a very good way to find out what kind of strings you can pull player characters along with. That's one of the things that I really really enjoy about session zeros, or even like one of the things now is, you know, I'm working on my next campaign, and I've already started hitting up players for ideas, and I've already told them to come up with backstories, come up with all this stuff. The next thing I'm going to be doing effectively is going in, okay, so tell me about what your character, you know, like what's their personality like, what do they feel like, how do they interact with the world, what are their goals and desires, like that kind of stuff. So that way I can have those not only as plot hooks when I need them, but to also have them be like ways that I can make sure that the party will mesh well together. Uh, Lark says, I don't like the idea of crapping on player character ideas, but on the other hand, I really dislike players intentionally picking a tune or too difficult to incorporate that it makes it painful for the group and DM to tell a story. I agree. I completely agree. And what I would do is, I guess I would, in that kind of scenario, because I never want to discourage someone from playing something, but I'll point out and be like, well, maybe this guy's too greedy, so maybe we can do this with it. So that way they can at least still keep the concept, but maybe curb it so it's more in line with what the rest of the party would be willing to do. Not only that, but, you know, again, in a way that you as the DM can deal with it. But generally speaking, how I've dealt with problem players like this, and again, I don't really feel like this is a problem player, I feel like this is a problem character. Because the guy, you know, if his default defense is, well, this is what my character would do, well, then you need to give the character a reason to care. So once you give that character a reason to care, he doesn't have that excuse anymore. If you do give him a reason to care and he says his character wouldn't feel like that, then he's playing an evil character, and that's its entire own issue. And I only say that because evil characters don't care about anything but themselves. They, you know, their well-being is the only thing that matters, like all that stuff. So maybe try to rail them into a quick side story that can act as a reason for a personality change that makes them less of an obstacle. Yeah, those are great, actually. Again, I would take inspiration from like movies or TV shows where you have like some sort of hard character that has something traumatic happen to them. Not necessarily traumatic, but has an event or event or something that happens to them that effectively, yeah, would change their personality or maybe outlook on life. All right, well, thank you, Turbo Ginger, for the Turbo Ginger 18, because he's the 18th one. Thank you for the player problem.